Whenever huge creatures are mentioned, the first name that pops in my mind is Star Wars. Most of us remember Star Wars for its crazy plot, fascinating characters, and jaw-dropping moments. However, one thing that we often forget are the massive creatures in this series. In this video, we'll be counting down the top 10 biggest monsters in Star Wars, from the smallest to the biggest. Without any further ado, let's dive right into it. First up on this list, we have the Greater Krayt Dragon. This gigantic carnivorous reptile resides on the planet Tatooine. Krayt dragons are formidable in size, and secrete venom in their mouths and dorsal spikes. Once injured, the unfortunate victim that does manage to escape a Krayt dragon might still succumb to the Krayt dragon's poison if left untreated. As if that weren't enough, the Greater Krayt is also rumored to have the ability to move through the desert sands like it was swimming through water. Greater Krayts are massive, growing 328 feet or more. They require 10 legs to support their bulk. Despite their size, Greater Krayts were rarely encountered because they spent long periods of time literally swimming through the sand. If we had to compare its size to everyday objects, you can imagine lining up an entire American football field end to end, and the dragon would still stretch a bit past it. That's like stacking more than 20 average cars bumper to bumper, or about the length of a Boeing 737. It's so massive that if it slithered down a city street, it'd probably be longer than most city blocks. The Starlac is the next massive monster to feature on this list. The Starlac is one of the most intriguing species, able to live for millennia. The species is by far more readily known due to it being one of the more terrifying creatures in the galaxy. While it's a simple creature, it does break all conventional notions of dangerous beasts, namely because it's a plant with traditional roots and reproduces with spores, but also possesses animal-like traits such as mobility, tentacle limbs, and jaws. Both of these traits together make the creature deceptively destructive. In terms of size, the Starlac's body extends approximately 328 feet underground, making it comparable in length to the Greater Krayt Dragon. However, unlike the Krayt Dragon, which is a mobile predator, the Starlac remains stationary and uses its tentacles to capture other creatures that come too close. To put its size into perspective, imagine a creature with a mouth wide enough to engulf a small spacecraft, surrounded by tentacles capable of dragging large creatures into its depths. The Starlac's presence in the Great Pit of Carkoon has become a symbol of the perilous nature of Tatooine's deserts. If you believe that these monsters were pretty huge, you're not prepared for what's coming next. Next, we have the Sando Aqua monster. This massive creature hides in the waters of Naboo. It's known for its enormous size and huge appetite. Its mouth is so big it can swallow large creatures or even a Gungan submarine whole. Its strong muscular body looks almost like a cat with powerful limbs that allow it to swim. Sando Aqua monsters can reach lengths ranging from 525 to 656 feet, with males typically growing up to 656 and females around 492 feet. Imagine a creature stretching the length of a football field and extending an additional 197 to 328 feet beyond that. This is comparable to the length of a large cruise ship or the combined length of several city blocks. That's just too massive. Native to Alderaan, the Great Thranta is one of the largest beasts of burden in the galaxy. Besides its large size, the Great Thranta differs from other Thranta subspecies due to its long neck, proportionally small head, and the white coloring of its skin. The diet of these docile creatures is mainly based on airborne zooplankton and other small flying creatures. They often have broad muscular wings accompanied by a relatively short tail. Their size, ability to fly, and compliant nature have helped make the Great Thranta a convenient way of traveling long distances. These creatures went extinct when their native planet was destroyed. In terms of comparison to everyday objects, if we consider the Pilata Thranta's size as a reference, the Great Thranta could be approximately 15 times longer. This would make it an exceptionally large creature, though without specific measurements, a precise comparison to known objects is challenging. Next up, we have the Pergill Ultra. These massive whale-like creatures were slightly intelligent, unlike my girlfriend. They looked almost the same as normal Pergill, but their heads were much bigger, with slightly different features. These creatures were able to travel through hyperspace, which is a dimension that allowed traveling at light speed. While exact measurements are not provided in the available sources, it's described as being significantly larger than regular Pergill, with some accounts suggesting they can reach lengths of up to half the size of an Imperial-class Star Destroyer. If we consider an Imperial-class Star Destroyer to be approximately 5,249 feet in length, a Pergill Ultra could potentially reach lengths up to 2,625 feet. This is roughly equivalent to 8 football fields lined up end to end. Compared to the creatures we've discussed before, Pergill Ultra is just on a whole other level. The Exogorth, also called the Space Slug, is a massive toothy creature similar to a giant snail. Unlike most life forms, it's made of silicone and can survive in the vacuum of space by living inside asteroids. It eats minerals from rocks, energy from stars, and even other space creatures called Minocs. They're capable of surviving in the vacuum of space without assistance. Their biology allows them to thrive in this environment. with some individuals living for over 1 billion years. Most adult space slugs reach about 33 feet long, but some keep growing until they're as huge as starships, weighing over 1 million kilograms. Some individuals continue to grow throughout their lives, potentially reaching lengths of up to 2,953 feet. At this size, they can swallow entire starships whole. Imagine a creature stretching the length of 9 football fields lined up end to end. This is comparable to the length of a large cruise ship, or the combined length of several city blocks. Space Slug is pretty damn huge, but the next creature we're going to discuss will just blow your mind. We now have the Colossus Wasp. It's pretty obvious why it was named the Colossus. This massive insectoid species is native to the planet Ithil, located in the Outer Rim territories. The Colossus Wasp is described as being approximately 3,281 to 3,937 feet long, making it one of the largest known insectoid species in the galaxy. Its immense size and strength enable it to prey upon colossal creatures, such as the Space Slug, by burrowing into their bodies and consuming them from the inside out. These creatures are loners, just like you guys, as they construct massive nests within the trunks of ancient trees. These nests are fortified with a combination of organic and mineral materials, providing protection from predators and the elements. To put their size into perspective, the Colossus Wasp is roughly the length of 10 to 15 football fields all lined up. Or think about it this way, the Empire State Building laid end to end more than twice over wouldn't even cover its full length. You could literally park an entire Star Destroyer next to it, and the Colossus Wasp would still measure up. Nebres were flying creatures with no limbs, coming in many sizes and living in different places. They appeared on planets like Rugosa, Rishi's moon, and Tatooine, where they sometimes soared near Jabba's palace. Some even lived in space, especially in the Kalita Nebula near the Balmoral Run. On Rugosa, baby Nebres flitted through ancient coral forests, resting during their long space journeys. A medium-sized type with see-through wings lived on Rishi's moon. The largest, called Nebre Mantas, dwelled in space, feeding on star gases. They nested in the Kalita Nebula and fed in the Veil Nebula, where they consumed more stellar gases. The Nebre Manta themselves aren't that huge, but their wingspan is just out of this world. The largest recorded wingspan of these creatures is around 5,492 feet. To put this into perspective, that's longer than the height of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on Earth. It's wider than 15 football fields laid side by side, or nearly twice the wingspan of a modern-day airport runway. You could park an entire fleet of starfighters on one wing and still have room for a landing pad on the other. Often misunderstood, the Assuma Verminoth are massive tentacled creatures found dwelling among the stars in the treacherous maelstrom surrounding the planet Kessel. Due to their monstrous size and voracious appetite, the beasts are a staple of legends passed between ship captains and crew. With numerous eyes and electrified tentacles that they use to ensnare prey, Assuma Verminoth's tentacles were armed with suckers and electrified stingers, which they used to trap prey and satiate their voracious appetite. The Assuma Verminoth is described as being approximately 24,374 feet in length, making it one of the largest known creatures in the galaxy. To get a better sense of just how big it is, it's larger than Mount Everest is tall. If it stood vertically, its head would still be peeking above the clouds. It could completely wrap around the Empire State Building nearly 7 times. If you think this is huge, just wait for the last one. Lastly, we have the legendary Still Sail. I doubt there would be any creature as huge as this one. Still Sails are actually membranous creatures that lived in a large corridor of dust and asteroids, known as the Stratus Distribution. Not much is known about them except the fact that they shared their habitat with predatory lightning jacks and asteroid burrowing worm-like chewers. We can talk about these creatures in some other video. If the Assuma Verminoth were nearly 24,274 feet long, just how big can a Still Sail be? Well, this monstrous being is said to be 328,084 feet long, and if we had to compare it to some other objects, we can just imagine a creature stretching the distance from Earth to the Moon, which is about 1,261,154,400 feet. The Still Sail would be roughly 1/4 of that distance, making it significantly longer than any terrestrial or even most celestial objects we're familiar with. This is just outrageous, to be honest. Anyway, that's it, folks. Let me know in the comments if I've missed anything. See you guys in the next video. Bye!